Love one another. That's an easy commandment, right? We all accept that. You guys in here, you good with love one another? Sounds like a good plan? Yeah? Good. Then the sermon's done. We're all going to love one another. Perfect. Jesus says this is a new commandment. But what makes loving one another new? I mean, God's told us throughout all the Old Testament to love each other. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. And you shall love your neighbor as yourselves. Love is the bedrock of the Old Testament. How is this new? Jesus gets down on his feet, gets down on his hands and knees and washes the feet of his disciples. And I know that our world isn't like this today, but back then, we're in a desert, we're wearing sandals, the feet are dirty. Tonight we're going to do something different. Today in our world, if you've bathed, your body's pretty clean. Except for your hands. We've learned this, right? If we've bathed, our body's pretty clean. Except we need to wash our hands regularly. And so tonight, in a little bit, we are going to take an opportunity to do as Jesus did for his disciples, as Jesus does for us, and wash our hands. And Jesus says, if I, who am king of the hill, right? Top dog, Lord and master, stoop down to the bottom rung, to the lowliest position a servant can take, and wash your hands and feet. Ought not you do the same for one another? In Jesus' kingdom, what's new about this love is that there is no such thing as someone who is above a job. There's no such thing as saying, there's times when I go to the airport and I'm in the bathroom and there's that person there who is handing out towels and stuff, and you're like, I would never want that job. Or right now, the grocery store people, I would not want that job. I don't want to be in those hospitals. Most of the time, if I can not leave my home, it's good, right? I mean, not only because I've been told not to leave my home, but because I don't always feel safe leaving my home right now. And all these people who have these jobs, they're not just that, if I ever have a kid, I'm adopting a 5-year-old. I am skipping all those diapers. I don't want that job. And Jesus says, if I, whom you call your Savior, who you respect as your Lord and God, am willing to stoop down as far as it takes to take care of you, what does it mean that you are made in God's image? But Jesus doesn't just go that far. Jesus goes further. The text says, having loved his own, he loved them to the very end. I remember I was with a family in the hospital. And it's okay to not be able to do certain things. But it hit them really hard because they said, Pastor, I know we need to love our father to the end, but as their father was dying, but we don't have the strength to be in there. And they asked me to sit there in their place, and that was hard. That was really hard. Jesus, having loved his own, loved them to the very end. And not just the good ones. Did you hear? He loved them to the very end, and then he said to them, what was it? But not all of you. Indicating Judas is still in the room. He washed Judas's feet. The man who was going to betray him, the man he knew, the text says he knew who was going to betray him. And he loved him to the very end. And I don't want you to twist this some way as if saying that when you're in an unsafe situation, you need to stay in it for the sake of love. Because that's not what this is. This is even in the midst of being as safe as you can. How do we follow Jesus and love each other to the very end? And at this time, that is both hard, and we are searching and looking for new ways to do it every single day. Because we know deep down that command that Jesus gives us, love one another as I have loved you, that is what it means to be a Christian. That's what it means to come here and gather at the cross, is to witness the love that is so complete. It doesn't give up on a single soul. In another one of the gospel readings, Judas comes to Jesus in the garden, and Jesus says, "You betray me with a kiss?" And for me, if I were Jesus, I would have punched Judas right there on the spot. He deserved it. You have ruined things. You have gone wrong. You need a slap in the face, something. Jesus is disappointed, you can tell. But you only get disappointed in people you love. He still loves Judas, even while Judas is betraying him. Having loved his own, he loved them to the very end. Having loved you, Jesus will keep loving you. Will always love you. No matter if you're like Judas, no matter if you're like Peter, no matter if you're like Thomas, no matter if you're like Matthew, any of the disciples, Mary, Martha, whomever you are like or feel like among Jesus' disciples, Jesus will keep loving you to the very end. And at the very end, Jesus will turn and say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Amen.